The topic of our last panel or last session today is Fun Comes First, NFTs and gaming becoming part of our lives. And I'm very glad to welcome the Blockchain Game Alliance here today to tell us a little more about this topic and show us some examples of their work. Without any further ado, I would like to give the floor to Flavien de Freyre, the moderator for this session. And please, Flavien, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Bara. I really appreciate the invites from INATBA and participate in this Digital Blockchain Week. Obviously, it's a fun topic, and we'll be happy to have our members to answer that tricky question about NFTs, gaming, and fun. Obviously, that's the main purpose of why we play games. And the main purpose of what we will do today is to first show you some games. We would try because sometimes it could be laggy, but the main point of what we'll do is also to have a conversation between our members about blockchain gaming. And I will suggest to start with one of the speakers to showcase their game would be Almad. Almad, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for asking.
We're very happy to have you on the show. And actually, just as the first question before you just show the game, Bezogia, just could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is Almad Zakaria. I'm the project lead for Bezogia Labs, and I'm also part of the team for the product lead, which is Legends of Bezogia, our MMORPG.
Perfect. So we will try to showcase the game and have a little conversation about what is the game exactly. So help us understand what games you are developing. Pretty excited myself because you are developing an MMO and a big fan of an MMO. So if you have blockchain in it, that's perfect as well. But just also, I don't know if the best way would be to have the video. I don't know if Bara could help us to showcase the video. Could you explain what it is a game exactly?
So to start off with, actually, what we did is what the title of this topic is about: fun in games, right? So when we started building Legends of Bezogia, the first priority, the first focus was fun, right? Because game has to be fun. If a game's not fun, then who's going to play it, right? What we did is we saw the phenomenon of memes, meme culture, communities building around memes. We saw a very powerful digital culture that existed around memes because they could unite communities around causes, ideas, visions, whatsoever. So we decided to actually go with a meme theme to kind of provide continuous entertainment into the game, right? And at the same time, we also decided to use crypto, but the educational part of crypto to kind of blend both of them into what is Legends of Bezogia. So meme brings a lot of entertainment. As you can see, one of the Bezogies here is finding the trolls. These are one of the trolls, the enemies. The game was themed around the memes, but the product itself was themed around crypto. What I mean by that is when you enter Legends of Bezogia, all the areas are themed. So for example, you have the markets, you have the bull market, the bear market, you have the weapons, for example, the green candle, the liquidator. And then when we move to the meme theme, for example, we have weapons like, funny weapons like the Elon musket, or we have enemies that we have memed out of Donald Trump, where we have Donald Dump and Donald Pump.
That's my favorite one, by the way.
Right. So as you know, Donald Pump, he's half bull, half human, and Donald Dump is half bear, half human. So you get the meme theme as well as the crypto theme. If you've seen the video right now, this is the center of Bullish. By the way, guys, there's a huge 10x upgrade already done to our NFTs, but I can't show that to you today because we have a official public reveal next month. So what happens is, this is another meme right here. You come inside Bezogia into the marketplace, there's a live token price being displayed on the wall. And the days we are green, all the Bezogis are dancing. The days we are red, they're all kind of mourning and fighting with each other. So this was the kind of theme and entertainment and experience we wanted to bring to Legends of Bezogia. The second thing that we focused on was a zero barrier to entry process. What that means is we didn't believe that a blockchain game should be made only for blockchain players. So the way we designed the game, the experience of entering and playing Bezogia is the same for Web 2 or Web 3 players. When you come to Legends of Bezogia as a player, as a gamer, you will not be able to tell the difference. You'll be able to click, choose a character and play, okay? So Web 2 players will find this as a very simple, easy onboarding process as we teach them about crypto, right? So that's the purpose of the Web 2 audience. And with the Web 3 audience, if they own an NFT, they can play. And if they don't own an NFT, the way we've created the entire formulas of the game is that there is a rental pool that kind of runs an algorithmic reward that runs from the pool of all the players of the game. So you can just rent a Bezogia and start playing on a profit sharing basis. This is how we also kept the game free to play, right? In summary, this is how, anyway, what's being displayed on the screen is also kind of cool. It's a minting mechanism, completely randomized based on metadata and attributes. So every time a player would mint a weapon, right, they will receive something different. And this is all based on the breeds, attributes, and the actual DNA of the existing weapon and the number of blocks you add. So everything that we've designed in the game is algorithmic. So technically, it's a fun MMORPG to play, and it has blockchain integration and crypto education out of along the way. So what I mean by that is, for example, you're a Web 2 player today. You download the game from any platform that you prefer playing, and you start playing, right? You start running around, you start earning blocks, you start completing the quests, you start earning all these items. But essentially what's happening is, as you're playing the game right now, all your value is stored on server, right? Because you're a Web 2 player, you're playing off the Zoji Labs account. So Legends of Bezogia is themed the battle for decentralization, and that's the reason it is. So as players are collecting all this value, eventually when they want to capture this value or withdraw this value, right, they will download MetaMask. Maybe they'll sign up to an exchange. Maybe they'll take a step towards crypto because they'll realize for the first time that a two-way transfer of value allows them not only to capture it, but to legally sell their items in the secondary marketplaces as well, right? Instead of having to go to black markets, like where Web 2 players are currently forced to go to trade and exchange at the risk of losing their accounts, right? Legends of Bezogia is themed around 8 worlds that represent the 8 breeds. What you see right now is the neutral zone. We plan to launch the game in Q1 of next year with about 5 worlds, and then 3 more worlds will be added as expansions, because as you can see, the neutral zone is about 31 million square feet. So by the time the map is finalized all the way, this would be 5 times the size of Legends of Zelda. Majority of it, 80% of it has been built. That's why we're ready for a Q1 launch. What you see on the screen are NPCs. Non-playable characters. We have a very good AI technology that's kicking in, that's going to start populating these NPCs, as well as creating content around latest trends. We'll discuss the AI technology we're building, hopefully by next month as well, to the community. Apart from that, I mean, Flavian, I know Steve is really good.
No, that's quite a lot, actually. Thank you very much for that presentation, Ahmed. Actually, the video went smoothly for the large part, so it was fun to see it again. Obviously, on my part, I'm very excited about this, and it was my question, but you actually answer it. What is very exciting when you're developing an MMO for blockchain is this idea to open your economy to a lot of different parties, the players, marketplaces, and others. So very exciting by the game and what you are obviously developing, and this fun aspect of these meme cultures. It's so funny. So what could be the next challenges that you see maybe for the next year in terms of developing these games?
I think when it comes to challenges, I think the biggest challenge that we see, right, is accessibility. And that is very important because what's happening is public blockchains are not necessarily very capable to run a full MMORPG. So all the newer tech, some of the really good tech actually that's coming into the industry, different layers and different blockchains, our biggest challenge is to make sure that we can provide access to players on those chains. And that's our biggest challenge for next year is how many chains do we deploy on, as well as how much liquidity can we spread across those chains so players can have a healthy economy. We can't have one player of one chain not getting the same value as another player from another chain. So for us, I think that is a big challenge that we are going to, we'll overcome it, right? So we're going to face it, but we will overcome it. We are already integrating 2 chains. By next month, we'll have 2 chains, 2 more chains. We're already on ETH. We're going to add Matic, but we're adding 2 more chains. That's one of the biggest challenges. The second challenge, I think, is breaking that stigma of Web3, Web 2 players who haven't been able to explore and see blockchain products like this. So when traditional gamers come to blockchain space, what they see is they feel like it's like a job, right? Sometimes when you're playing a not so fun turn-based or a blockchain-based game, it can actually get very tiring or boring. Like, for example, I play a couple of games on Matic, and every single time it pops up, confirm a transaction. So this is another challenge that we have to beat. We have to show entertainment in blockchain games, right? And only when we do show entertainment in blockchain game will these gamers kind of start adapting and saying, hey, man, we kind of like this. They might still keep their value on server. They might not move it to wallets, but at the end of the day, they will play. So I think these are the 2 biggest challenges, is to be able to be accessible by everybody, which the team is working on by going on many platforms, Android, PC, whatnot. And I think the second thing is definitely beating that challenge, saying, hey, guys, blockchain does make fun games. Blockchain does make interesting games, you know?
Yeah, so a big part dedicated to education for sure, and that's why we really like to have what we call the demo day. And I know that Bezogia, the version of Bezogia, we had you 2 times to show the games and every aspect of your games, because it's fun to watch. It will be fun to play as well for next year. So pretty exciting about it. Thanks again, Ahmed. Obviously, I will have you again for our panel with our 3 members to talk through about the fun aspect, even if you talk about it a lot. So thanks again, Ahmed.
Thank you, Flavien. Thanks for having me.
So I will ask Jerome, if you're ready to do the same. Very happy to have you today.
Hi, folks. Yes, likewise. So yeah, why don't I just share my screen and tell you a little bit more about what you do.
Perfect.
So at Cometh, we are a French studio based in Paris, about 25 people at the moment. And we have 2 activities. One is producing our own games. We have a studio that's called Cometh, like you can see. And our particularity is that we build games that are executing at most on-chain. Like, we'd like to put as much thing as possible on-chain. And on the side, the tech stack that we are building, the different pieces that we expose in our games, we also distribute them to third parties. We are working with the National Lottery in France called FDJ. We are working with another company called Darewise. We are also working with brands like Lacoste, and we have about 10 different projects and games that are using our tech. But what they are using exactly, you may ask? Well, we look at how blockchain can enhance the experience of a gamer. And specifically, we like to use blockchain in economies, like any economic transaction or economic relation that the player may have with each others, but also use blockchain to generate content in a procedural fashion or add entropy to the experience of the players. Like, So here are the typical things that we produce. We have a rental system that allows you for renting NFTs from one player to another. We developed open source and audited this piece of software, and we expose it to third parties. So any games like the one you previously watched can use it. Here's what it looked like. You select a spaceship. In our context, it's a spaceship, but you can work around that for any NFTs. You can create a public offer, or you can assign an offer to someone else, and you can tweak the duration and how long you want to offer your NFT. And you can also tweak the reward system on how this NFT will behave in your game. If you are distributing something to the NFT holders because of XYZ actions, you can distribute that this way. And this kind of system is very flexible because you can also sub-rent it and have a form of derivatives on top of that, like lend it to someone else. It's typically the use case of high collectors or of guilds of players that can rent those items with one another. We also expose a marketplace for the players to be able to trade their assets. This marketplace works on an audited protocol called 0x, and you can trade and make offers and do things around that for your players. And last big piece of software that we have in our tech stack is a crafting system that allows you to craft NFTs, mixing different NFTs or mixing ERC20s. And this is where we put the link between decentralized finance and NFTs. Because as a game with a virtual economy, you may want to use some primitives like automated market maker, and that's actually a very good use case if you have resources in your game and those resources are ERC20s. You want to use an automated market maker like Uniswap to let the players trade with one another, and this makes a very compelling usage of DeFi inside the games, because if you are to craft, say, an armor, for example, by mixing iron and leather. This is a recipe, like 2 pieces of iron and 2 pieces of leather give you an armor. If you end up fat fingering the distribution of leather or the distribution of iron, you may have too many armors in circulation. So that's how decentralized finance can help. You can list the recipes as a deposit of liquidity on the DeFi protocol. And in this case, the recipe themselves are going to be updating themselves every time there is a movement in the price. So that's the kind of use case that we develop for our own games and for our partner games. You can also imagine giving access to some of the content of your NFT or of the content of your digital experience by letting only the person that have a certain NFT join in, and having this NFT being crafted either by doing a deposit on the DeFi protocol or on doing certain actions. The good thing about crafting this way is that, of course, you can always grind the items and get back the deposit. So it's also a gateway to DeFi that adds another revenue streams to hyper casual games that want to expose acquisition campaigns from DeFi protocols, for example. So if I click on craft here, I'm going to send to the smart contract those different ERC20s. You have tungsten, aluminum, magnesium, and copper here. And once the transaction will be mine, I will have a booster of card that can open up and enjoy the card that I've just crafted. It's been crafted. So while it's being deposited in my wallet, we can look at my current collection of cards, and as you can see, those cards I can grind them and get back some of the resource I've just put in the NFT to craft it. Good thing about that as well is that if those resources are liquid on a decentralized market, you can always have a floor price of your NFT because you can grind them and liquidate the resource that is used to grind them. Let's see, here's my booster. I can open it up, and when it's opened, I will get my card. So our last game that I'm starting to show to you at the moment is a game that is a turn-based card game. So it's a very easy use case for blockchain games to do card games. Before that, we had a massive online RTS game with about 4,000 players playing together on the same map, but still turn-based. So we try to work on the experience of of the players regarding the fact that it's easy for games to run on a turn-based basis on chain, but it's harder to make them different. We work closely with other initiatives like Zero X Park or the guys developing MUD to create more and more on-chain experiences. We are keen to work on optimistic rollups as well. You will hear from us on that front pretty soon. And I think I can show you the game as well. So let's see if we can find an opponent. This game is also running on mobile. So if you go on battle.cometh.io, you will be able to play a game, maybe against me, maybe against someone else. Let's wait to see if I can find someone to play against. And we use the studio activity that we have to showcase, of course, the tech stack that we develop. If you have an ambition for something cool regarding Web3, let's get in touch. I'm happy to give you some feedback and to give you our own return on experience. Maybe you will even be able to work on what we've built and streamline your development. Here we go. I found some world called VAPF93. Let's see if that guy is strong or not so strong. Oh, he has good cards, damn it. On this panel, I can click and see the NFTs I have in my wallet and use those NFTs as emojis. So it's slowly loading. I have my own NFTs here to say like, oh, stop playing that against me. It's too bad. So it's a turn-based card game, as I said. In this situation, I think I'm going to hit this guy as hard as I can in order to win this game. So I have 65 health point here. I have 62, he has 50 now. And the first player to reach 0 will lose the game, obviously. So it's taking place in space. You have different spaceships. It's a free-to-play. So if you don't have any spaceship, you can still enjoy the game and discover it. But if you want to participate in the tournament and grow a collection of cards, you have to either buy a spaceship or rent it from someone else. We host free tournaments as well for the players to get together and discover. And at the moment, we are in beta phase, and still we can solve some of the last barriers that we have before mass adoption. But currently, there are 15,000 unique players that have tried the game since May, and we have about 300 daily that are playing the game. Some of them are really very good players with a background in TCGs like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, and some of them are also returners from other Web3 games and trying to enjoy what's available in the current offering, the current catalog of blockchain games. So if you have any questions, I'm easy to reach. Don't hesitate to leave me a message, and happy to chat about anything you want to build on Web3.
Thank you very much, Jerome, for that. But obviously, we will see if you can beat him. You have to. But one question while you're doing that. Why did you decide to be, so first, not a question, but I think it's a good game to understand DeFi mechanism by playing a game. Personal opinion as regard with what you developed yourself, and happy to play the game myself. Why did you decide to go fully on chain?
Well, it's a way for us to demonstrate our capacity to build and our capacity to innovate in this front. We look at blockchain for gaming in a similar fashion that we would look at 3D and networking for gaming back in the late 90s or the early 2000s. This is a land of opportunity, we think, and the only way to find the best innovation on that front is to just try it yourself and see what works and see what doesn't work. We think there are potentially ways to create new game genres by using blockchain at its core. So we'd like to explore and see how we can do it. Also, the background of the team is mostly blockchain engineers with little to no experience initially on building games. So it was just natural for us to go this direction. And yeah, it was fun. Like, we wanted to see how much we could put into this blockchain and how much we can get out of it. We wanted to face also the limitation ourselves, experience it firsthand. So we would be able to tell our partners and clients that no, guys, you can do this, you cannot do that. Also finding out the hard problem to solve, because that's usually the best way to create a new product or something that can scale and solve problem for the rest of the ecosystem.
And as you said, TCG is a really good example of how you could involve blockchain into the game. Do you have any other type of game that really suits this involvement of the blockchain?
I would say auto battlers are a really good way to do things as well. Point and clicks is something that's probably a good match as well. I haven't seen too many point and clicks, and we may or may not be developing one in the near future. So stay tuned on that. Damn, I think I may win. Yes. Oh my God. It never happened on stream.
Oh, so. No. Congrats. It was a good one, and actually perfectly on time. So thanks again, Jerome, for showing the game. And obviously we'll ask more questions about what you do and how do you see blockchain gaming in the near future.
Sure. Happy to help. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to the rest of the presentations.
Thank you. Jean-François, very happy to see you again since NFT NYC. So your turn.
It's been a long time.
Yes, stage is yours. We'll be happy to see the game as well.
Awesome. Let me share my screen. So I guess you guys see the amazing screen. Awesome. So just to present myself first, Jean-François Dugas. I'm currently the product owner of Infinite Drive, which is a mobile-first game, actually, built by the Tiny Digital Factory. We are, and that's kind of funny because Jerome spoke about coming from the blockchain gaming and then trying to create games. For us, it's the contrary. We're a game developer company, so we create games, and we decide after creating Rev Racing for Animoca that we could try on into the blockchain game. And so the first thing that came to our mind is let's create the next Gran Turismo 7, but on mobile, because if you guys don't know, on the mobile experience, we have more than 600 million of mobile players that do play racing games. So it's a huge market, and bringing what the blockchain can bring to the free-to-play mobile sector, I think it's where we need to go in the future. So what is Infinite Drive? So Infinite Drive is two things. First and foremost, it's a collection games. So we have more than 150 real licensed cards they want to integrate into Infinite Drive. And so you can own one of each. And furthermore, it's really kind of an e-sport competition games. It's a multiplayer games where you need to beat either the time of someone else or win the laps with 8 other players. What you guys see currently is real licensed card that we have the rights for the Alpine, the Renault, the Berlinet, the Fenir. So these are really licensed cards that we have to modelize based on the AutoCAD files of the constructor, make sure that they fits their need and they fits every values that we put on it. Sorry if it lags a bit. I'll try to go slow on the video sharing so you guys can see a bit the details. But all the cars are high poly models that you can actually drive around. So for us, that was kind of an important point to make sure is that we respect the quality of all the racing cars. So we have these licensed cars, but we also have real licensed truck, which I think it's another important point. When you want to drive a real car, you need to drive it on a real licensed track. So what Infinite Drive is using from the blockchain is pretty simple. All the cars, they are minted on the blockchain and they are mutable. I think for free-to-play mobile gaming, it's important that the values of these cards change over time. Even for us, in terms of free-to-play, it means that we can give out on a mint-on-demand card to a players that doesn't own anything for free. So the real value of this card is $0. But the more we spend on it, the more you upgrade, customize it, make it better, then it actually holds a value in the future. And so the people can sell it in our in-game marketplace. They can also put it on lease, so other free-to-play players can actually rent them to participate in specific events. which means that NFT owners of these cars can create their own car dealership and give them to other free-to-play players that can use keys and hard currency and soft currency to actually play with them. So they don't need to make a purchase, because we know on the mobile games, it's more than 75% of our players that will never spend a dime or even watch ads. But we know that they will interact with NFTs of other car owners, so we can give back to them in terms of actually hard currency, which is a bit the biggest challenge that we have on mobile. So all you guys know, instead of Apple and Google, they have strict rules under the NFT. So we're working with Unity, we're working with AppLovin to actually bring the free-to-play mobile gaming inside the blockchain as fast as possible with solutions. So that's it for the car, but I mean, it's cool to look at car, but we can also drive them. So we have daily races, which are based on the server with real players. So it's a real multiplayer experience that we have inside it. And so let's just race with one. So Manta is, it's a fake track that we use actually a real kind of, a real licensed track to build on. So we can create variant of these tracks. We currently support controllers. We have a PS4 controller, an Xbox controller you can plug in and play on your mobile. We support joystick. We support tilt. Try to concentrate myself also on not doing an accident there. But the real gameplay here is really, you cannot go at 200 miles an hour and expect to take a turn. So we're still pretty simulation based. Which makes it a good experience for esporting, because that's a bit where we want to go in the future. I want to make sure that we create a huge community that can participate into these events. And we're also in discussion with big licensors like the FIA competition to make sure that we can have a real competition inside the game for Infinite Drive. Currently, I'm just playing. I'm the only one playing on this server. No worries, it's on development right now.
Actually, you're right. I remember that we used to play some racing games, blockchain games, and we kind of forgot the importance of playing that games through different device and obviously controller, especially for racing games. So it's very interesting that you obviously focus on that.
Yeah, because we have different kind, because the game is currently live. You can download it on Android or Apple. And so we have different type of players that comes in. So it's really important for us to make sure that someone with low driving skill can actually play the game with no issue at all. And someone that is highly competitive can actually get his own set of controls inside it and play the actual game. Like we said, it's really important for us to license and having deals. And one thing I just want to show you is a bit what's going to be the next step in terms of licensing with Infinite Drive. So I got a small video there of what we actually work with Alpine, Endfast, another kind of reveal. So it's for us, it's really important that we push these kind of deals to make sure that we can make the players experience what is real cars into the experience. So we're still in alpha. We're really working pretty off the clock to make the first free-to-play release. Currently, you do need to have a car to play the game. But in the
as an NFT, right?
As an NFT. Yeah. But in Q1 2023, any free-to-play players will be able to download the game and be able to play without having to do a single transaction. So that's for us is really the next step into pushing the barrier into the Apple and Android service. Yeah. And this is kind of the reveal of the actual new licensor that we signed up. And we're going to do a mint in 2022 for 3 new cars based on the Aston Martin.
Awesome. Congrats for that. I didn't know. It's a wonderful.
It's a small surprise.
Wow. Yes, it's perfect. Congrats for this new license. And I think you already mentioned that, but I may ask the same question that I asked Ahmed. What could be the next challenges? But I guess for mobile blockchain gaming, it could be related to this thing where Apple is taking over 30% of any in-game assets within the game, blockchain or not. So but besides that, what could be the next challenges for you?
I think Ahmed actually flagged it. It's really important. It's everything that is the accessibility. Even on mobile, we know how to make a free-to-play game on mobile, but the integration of the blockchain ecosystem and bringing these mobile players into it, it's a big challenge. So we're working to make sure first that, like you said, we're okay with Apple and Android, but the next step is how we make sure that a player can create a custodial wallet and playing the game while being agnostic that it's actually on the blockchain. That's the reason why most of our experience is off-chain until a specific point where we push our information on-chain to make sure that in terms of friction for the players is frictionless. We would prefer that players discover the terminology of blockchain after 15, 16 days of gaming, rather than be exposed in the first day, because we know it's going to create a friction, and we prefer to have people hooked into the game, have fun with it, and start to understand the benefit of being on a blockchain game.
Perfect.
Because currently on mobile, I mean, we're on server, everything is on a backend, but even though it's on the cloud, people don't own anything inside a mobile game. And I think that's what the blockchain gaming can bring to these players.
Thank you very much, Jean-François, for the presentation. And I think, guys, you, not me, you really tackled the main part of the panel, which was based on fun. So congrats for that. Obviously, I would love to have a conversation with you based on what's happening in the blockchain gaming ecosystem right now. Why? Because for the audience, the Blockchain Game Alliance, why we are all here is because we are a non-profit organization committed to promoting blockchain within the gaming industry. We really want to push the gaming industry with the use of the blockchain technologies. So we have 500 companies, almost 500 companies in the BGA right now, and we really want to focus on our ability to make everyone connected with each other. We will have a lot of different takeaways, a lot of education that we need to provide insights to professionals involved in the blockchain gaming ecosystem, but outside as well towards gamers. So I guess as a first question to everyone, and maybe I will start with Ahmed, obviously on that one, could be from your experience and opinion, fair opinion, what we know what happened in terms of blockchain gaming with this play to earn phase. What would have been the main mistake we have seen in Web3 gaming projects committed so far? What learning lesson should we take ourselves?
I think when it comes to Web3 games, I think the biggest mistake people are making is that they're trying to take Web2 products and launch them as blockchain games. I think, as it was mentioned here by Jean-François as well as Jerome, sustainability is very important. You just cannot take any game, right, and say that, yes, it will have economic factors and economic benefits, because many games are not designed that way in Web2. So when you take popular games and you extract it or you mimic the games, the biggest issue you'll have is economic stability, because most in-game tokens and currencies were only made to work one way. So I think that's the biggest challenge that Web3 games are going to have, is that they're looking at all these beautiful graphical games and they're looking at all these engagement games and they're saying, oh, let's say mob control on iOS got 100 million downloads, I'll bring it to Web3. I understand, but then you also have to create algorithmic economic factors that create two-way transfer of value. So I think that's a very, very big challenge, that how do you bring economies into the game? Yeah. The players cannot just keep taking from your game, going out there and selling your assets to earn. Otherwise, your game won't sustain because the next player won't see the value of those assets. So this is, I think, the biggest challenge.
Perfect.
My opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a fair opinion, obviously. And Jerome, you said yourself that you learned a lot based on what you built. Did you also learn from what you saw in the blockchain gaming ecosystem?
I think we were in front of a very thick smoke screen with a play and earn. Play to earn, play to work, to earn, to work, to I don't know. I don't even know now. Well, we have to remember that one of the first internet currency was probably the gold of World of Warcraft. People being able to sell those gold on eBay. So it has always happened that when you have an economy in the game, you have people that collect stuff and then try to maybe make a living out of it, or make the ends meet at the end of the month. So like selling a couple of things that you get on in your game. But before you build a game simply on that primitive that you're going to have some extractors and you're going to have some contributors, it's extremely complicated. It's extremely complicated and hard to achieve that you have an economy that's so dynamic with so much export and so much imports that everything works. So if you go in the blockchain space for gaming, saying, okay, I'm going to bring a game from Web 2 to Web 3, and I'm going to do a play to earn, and I'm going to spoil all my players until I get enough players that the thing works, you're probably going to fail miserably. So the good way to enter this space is to think about the game, think about the fun game, and then see what blockchain can bring to this game. If it's not fun without the blockchain, it's probably not going to be fun with it. And then you can see blockchain with its benefit as something that will bring more stickiness to your player base, bring a form of ownership to the players that haven't been seen before, and bring also a form of revenue for you in the forms of royalties on the marketplaces that trade your assets. And that's also a way to reactivate your community and re-engage with them. You can track what they are doing with it, and you can track that you have probably some players that are heavy collectors and like to have assets, but you can create content for them because they are going to be your best customers. For a long time, like I think we've looked at if I am a luxury brand and I'm selling handbags, I will probably have a user base of all my biggest collectors of handbags, and I will know about them. I will try to nurture them. We'll try to bring things that they can brag about, that they can engage about, that they can continue to do business with me. With blockchain, you can do a similar thing with your community. Like if you consider your games as a form of art and a form of expression, you will want to know who are your biggest collectors, who are your biggest contributors, and that can be brought by the blockchain. So you get a direct interaction with your users and with what they do, what they own, with what they like to play. If I see that my players love cars, I will probably reach out to Jean-François and say like, hey, it seems like my players are collecting a lot of NFT of cars. Maybe they like those. Do you want to do something together? This wasn't available before. But of course, we face some backlash in the legacy gaming community because they are adverse to changes and have had many problems to overcome in the previous years. But I'm not afraid at all that this is going to make an enormous impact in the ecosystem as a whole.
Perfect. And actually, that's a perfect segue as well, because I looked at the chats. And the first question will remain for you, Jean-François. But obviously, you could also talk about what could be the benefits other than just the fun part of blockchain games. Why blockchain in games? And obviously, that's a great question for you as a company who since 2015, I think, create a lot of mobile games and decided to go into Web3. So 2 questions for you.
No, it's a good question. And just to jump back onto the play to earn, I think what Almad and Jerome said is pretty true. And I think we need to define better what play to earn is, right? Because for me, earning $1, it's actually a play to earn. A bit like Jerome was saying, in the World of Warcraft era, You could play, increase the characters, and send it back to another players that didn't have the actual time to play the game, to actually enjoy it. So you will just spend money to purchase it. And I think on our side, to mobile gaming, it's a bit what the blockchain can offer in terms of good. Because when we create games currently, it's a closed environment. It's not decentralized. Everything relies on our own backend, and our backend doesn't necessarily communicate with others. Essentially, currently, we made the switch to integrate Polygon into our environment. So now we're in Solana and we are Polygon, which open up the interoperability with other projects. And I think this is where we need to go into the mobile game industry. We need to open up the fact that if you purchase a car into Infinite Drive, you have access to play with it into other games because this asset, you actually own it. And it also means that when you're tired of the game or, you've been playing for a year, 2 years, we know it happens, you decide to call it quit. These assets currently, they will live on our backend and you'll lose them forever. So you may have spent 20K, 25Ks on something inside a game, and what you get at the end is a $0 value. So in a sense, for us, let's take like the worst case scenario. After 2 years, you decide to quit Infinite Drive and you want to sell your stuff back. Would you refund yourself? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you'll get 10K out of 25Ks. But if you compare it to any console, PC games, mobile games currently, this is not something that is possible. You cannot sell back what you actually spend on. And for me, when we say play to earn, I'll say play the game, have fun, and when you're tired, you can actually sell it back to someone else that will enjoy it. And your hard work with the mutable aspect of the asset of the NFT will earn values based on the number of races you did, number of victories, the storyline and the background story that you created around your NFT will be transferred to another players that actually want to enjoy the game with it.
Mm. Yeah, what you just said about ownership, about the ability of a player to play or sell the in-game assets because he doesn't want to. So the ownership properties of any in-game asset, that's what actually attracts me first into this Web3 world. So it makes a lot of sense to consider this topic as one of the best benefit of blockchain games. Ahmed, I know that you talk about these benefits as well while showing the game. Do you see any others?
No, generally, Fave, we believe in quite the same theory. What we've also done in Legends of Bezogia is you make a fun game, you use blockchain to bring value transfer. You don't bring blockchain to bring extra transactions into the scenario or to ledger extra activities onto the blockchain. Similarly, for us, our ideology was the same, that, hey, come play the game. That's important. Enjoy playing the game. That's important. And if you decide to take your value on chain, you're free to do so. That's why the blockchain functions that we integrate are mint, withdraw, transfer, right? If we were to set provenance for every action, first of all, no public blockchain could handle it. So I think what he's saying is quite right. Even when we published our sustainability formulas, which we built as a team, and it's available online for everybody, right? It was the same thing. It was about how do you sustain 1 million players inside an MMORPG environment, right? What are the sustainability factors? What are the incentive logics? And how do you make sure that there is the most minimum number of blockchain transactions, right? So that it doesn't disturb a player. Right? When you're playing an MMORPG, you're running towards a quest, you're about to go to the big boss, let's say the FUD King, right? All of a sudden your MetaMask pops open. That's no fun, right? So I think bringing blockchain integration for two-way transfer of value, which is the ethos of the blockchain, which is Bitcoin. The only purpose of Bitcoin is transfer of value. So focusing on transfer of value and enabling that is what blockchain should be to games. Everything else about a game, like he said, have fun to play it. When you're done playing it, you can sell your items. Like these are just the kind of like the foundations. The most important part is the flow of value, and that's it's quite a tackle, like I mentioned earlier. So if you go to our white paper online, that is the work of a team of 5 data scientists, and it took us 3 months running our own simulations to get to this conclusion. So, like I said, the emphasis should be, if you're integrating blockchain and you're creating two-way transfer of value, how do you bring balance to it as well? Not only just enabling it, because everyone knows an NFT can be issued and transferred between wallets, right? How does that NFT retain its value? Like he said, with attributes, it can retain its value. With the level up, it can retain its value. This is where the blockchain helps. And the blockchain also helps in proving the authentication of that data. So if in his game, I have a level 10 Aston Martin, the metadata represents dynamically the level I have of my item, where I've put time into it, which will eventually represent value. So to me, I believe in the same ideology. Yeah. Along the same lines.
Perfect. Thanks, Ahmed. I see a question from the audience. How do you tackle the love-hate relationship between game studios who don't see the benefit of blockchain? I will start with a very quick answer, but I would love to have the feedback of Jean-François, obviously, because you are into this shift when you decided to understand Web3, and obviously you know what it means in terms of the mindset. But on our side, in the Blockchain Game Alliance, obviously that's something that we really want to focus on. Based on the expertise of members, we have blockchain game companies, and we're happy to have them today to showcase their game. But obviously the main point of what we try to do is to gather everyone, blockchain game and game studio and technologies as well, into one core network. So in terms of technologies, we try to educate as well. And for you, Jean-François, what was the mindset of the, what do you think, like this love-hate relationship happening not only through the eyes of a gamer, but through the eyes of a game studio as well?
So I was born and raised in the Facebook gaming era. That was really where I started before joining to the mobile. So the free-to-play, I've been in this from the beginning. And if you guys remember, at that point, if you were doing a free-to-play game on Facebook or on mobile, you were not doing games. Other game studios were just saying, we don't get that. These guys are doing free-to-play games, cookie clickers. I mean, there's no future in this. And so it was kind of hard to get like into GDCs or E3 expos when you were doing these kind of games, because other game studios didn't see it as the future. I think this is exactly the same thing with blockchain gaming. We're coming up with something that is changing the vision, adding more stuff. And truth to be told, some game studio, they took it too literally. Going straight into trying to sell pens as an NFTs to the community when the actual audience wasn't ready to fully support the blockchain gaming, because it hasn't been proved to the players what's the real benefit of creating a blockchain game. So I don't see it as a love-hate relationship. I see it more into, we're currently on the educational part. We need to educate players, we need to educate other game studios of how to actually do a good blockchain game, what it means, what are the pros and cons into specific solutions, to make sure that we design something that is safe for the player, entertaining, fun, and doesn't bring bad press, because that's the first thing you want to avoid is bad press.
Thanks. Yes, thank you very much. I know that we are out of time, so it was perfectly timely. So thanks again for you three having the opportunity to show your game, and having this conversation was very fun. So thank you again. Thank you, INATBA, as well, for the invite, and
Thank you, Flavien.
wish you the best.